You're lying. It's a lie. What the fuck?
You dropped your cable. That's how I know it's 2014. Still got that thing. Now they have it like on the side.
Yeah, see, shit just still ain't picking up. As you come in, hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Like that. Smash it.
Yeah, what he said.
Subscribe.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Lord knows he needs it.
Huh?
Lord knows he needs it.
Yes. Appreciate that. All right. Today we have a special guest, Kyle from Starbucks.
Afito saying.
All right. What we're going to discuss today is actually asset forfeiture. And the reason why I brought that in is the fact that I was looking at some things that was happening down in Leon Valley. And I wanted to go over the fact that it's pretty much illegal, considering a police officer's duty is to, in fact, enforce the U.S. Constitution. That is what they stand for with witnesses and swear into. That is what they sign and agree to do. So when you're talking about asset forfeiture, they want to use that as a revenue generating system. And what makes it illegal is the taking clause of the Fifth Amendment. Are you familiar with the Fifth Amendment?
Mm-mm.
I need you to stay focused. All right. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to read the Fifth Amendment for all of us that don't know where the taking clause comes from or what it consists of. And apparently it does not want to do what it's supposed to do with this new update. Thank you, Apple.
Do you want me to read it?
Well, yes, you may read it.
You want me to read it? All right, here we go. The Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor a deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
All right. The end part of that is what we're going to focus on today. And it's actually going to be a little shorter because I started the broadcast late because the damn camera wouldn't work.
It's still not working.
Yeah, it still ain't working. But, okay. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And when you're talking about asset forfeiture or civil forfeiture, those are things that are done without process of law. And we also note that most cases that are arising in the Supreme Court fall under private property being taken for public use without just compensation. Well, private property can also, or is also, a common use vehicle, such as a car, a truck that is not in commercial use, meaning you're not hauling, you are not carrying passengers. So if you are an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, this is not talking to you. You get your shit taken, it's on you. But you have other recourse. Just, I'm not talking to you at this time. But when you're sitting down, you're understanding what civil forfeiture is, or asset forfeiture is. Read you a quick definition of civil forfeiture, or what they occasionally call it, a civil seizure. It's a process in which law enforcement officers take from persons suspected involved in a crime or illegal activity without necessarily charging the owner of wrongdoing. They use that statement to set up the fact that they're saying, okay, you didn't do anything wrong because it's an infraction or a traffic infraction or what have you. because we know a crime is damage to person, property, or them witnessing a felony. And in most instances, a car accident is a crime because there is damage to property for most parts, and sometimes there's damage to persons. Our case, just damage to property. And in those manners, there are certain instances where you can be charged with an actual crime because of the damage to property. But then it still goes into a civil aspect of or nature. So what they're doing is, let's say you have a broken tail light. They're seizing your assets, which is your vehicle, and they're using it as leverage for you to do or act in a certain manner, or in essence, generate revenue, such as Leon Valley. And when you're dealing with asset forfeiture, they also require that once the asset is seized by the police or the police department, that they send you out notification. Well, in the case of Leon Valley and those that are affected with them, they were sent out, which generates or it leads up to an extortion letter, because what they're told is you can come pick up your property because you were not charged with a crime. There were no illegal activities in which your property was seized. But in order to do so, you have to do something or you cannot do something. And in their case, they didn't have to pay, but they had to sign away their rights, because we also discussed anytime there's a waiver of rights, it must be clearly expressed and in writing. And when you're being forced or extorted to waive your rights because of someone else's wrongdoing, that is the actual definition of extortion. And the letter itself is proof of that extortion. And in most cases, when you have these cities or counties that are working with asset forfeiture or civil forfeiture or civil seizures, they are sending out the letters with you having to do something in regards to either holding on or getting back or even retaining or giving up rights, which means you lose your right to sue them because you're accepting whatever benefit that they're supposedly offering. And the letter itself is evidence of extortion, which is also a crime, a criminal matter, because in this case, it will be an economic damage to a person. So I'm only going to be on here maybe another couple minutes. Do you have a couple questions?
No. I'm going to let you do your thing, man.
You got to be a better guest, man.
Terrible guest.
People are watching, man.
See, this is what he does. He opens up your brain, because I haven't heard half that stuff. So, Leon Valley, is that who you were talking about?
Yes, Leon Valley, Texas.
Go into a little more. What was the case there?
Okay, well, you had a couple auditors, First Amendment auditors. They went to Leon Valley. They were down there basically just taking pictures and video of police department. They went in. I think 2 of them got arrested for videotaping, which is 100% legal. Not because it is your right. It is because of this thing called the First Amendment. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's the First Amendment, but it's also the Freedom of Information Act. That has this little clause in it called the Open Government Act, which was also re-signed in 2007 in order for you to go into federal buildings, such as the post office, which has Poster 7, or outside of military bases, which we have the Department of Homeland Security memo that went out in 2010 as well as 2018. These letters and memos and all these other posters was generated because of the Freedom of Information Act. Well, after they were arrested, they were released. But their cameras was either broken, which is part of the Criminal Damages Act, which I've explained before, as well as they were not returned. Then they went down maybe, I believe about a week later, and it was several more auditors and you had a couple of Second Amendment auditors. They had their weapons taken unlawfully, and Leon Valley made up a ordinance which was called retaliation. I believe that's what the words he used. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they were charged with, but that was, I think, retaliation was the ordinance they were violating while they were standing on the sidewalk, just videotaping, not moving, not going into anybody, wasn't even by the police station. And after he had said, "Hey, I'm gonna hold a press conference, y'all, come on down here." So then after that happened, he took everybody's videos, forgot that you can't delete them off YouTube and Facebook. So then as it got more media attention, he arrested, I believe, 5 or 6 more. So in the wake of guys starting to get out, or auditors starting to get out, there was this thing where guys were actually talking to civil rights attorneys. And these attorneys started generating things which lead up to the lawsuit, going through the steps for the lawsuit.
Okay.
And what happens, the chief goes, "Hey, I have an epiphany. Let's give them back all their stuff. But in order to get your stuff that we stole from you, because that's what it equates to, you can't sue us. And that's the only way you get your stuff back." Now, if that's not the clear definition of extortion, I have no idea what the hell it is. But that also makes it a violation of due process of law, because as you heard, it has to be a crime or it has to be illegal activity. None of those things happen. And just like I stated, a car accident is a crime. But unless there is damage that leads to something else, there is no reason that car has to be used as evidence. Because even with evidence, there has to be a warrant. There has to be some type of probable cause for that car or that vehicle, or whatever, or that property to be taken. And if that is not present, it is a violation. And they arrest, yes, they sure did, gatekeeper. I'm not sure when the last arrest was, but I do know that was one of the officers that was arrested.
In short, what this man is here to do is know your rights, people, and don't submit until due process has been fulfilled.
But hey, most people, that's all that. Yeah. we do.
Well, that's me. That's the general public. It's like, oh, this guy has a badge. This guy knows what he's talking about. I'll just let him do whatever he wants. Oh, this is the demands that you're presenting to me as an official. I guess I'll just sign a waiver.
Exactly.
Right. So you got to look into this stuff for yourself.
And that's the gist. That's part of the program in which they're doing with us. They want the general public to believe that they are authoritarians, when in fact they stand up before hundreds of witnesses. They write on a sheet of paper and they say, "Hey, I'm going to be a servant to the public. You are the public." So that makes them a servant to you. But they want you to believe they have authority over you as a servant.
Because they got a uniform and a gun. And all I got is a tight little...
Well, it's not tight, but it is
well,
little.
I meant style.
It's little, though.
It's tight.
But it's little.
I am little. Okay. I got to hit the gym. Look at this. It's not what it used to be. We both are, but you know.
All right. I'll take about 2 questions. Anybody got a question before we hang it up? Other than gatekeeper.
Yes, my cheeks are this rosy. It's not a filter.
Well, understanding property taken without due process or without a warrant, for the most part, making it part of a crime, is illegal. It is grounds for a federal court lawsuit, and it will be done under civil rights. If it is a police officer, 1983, 42 USC 1983. If it's a judge that continues on with that mess, I believe it's 18 USC 252 or 242. But I'll look it up, I'll get it straightened out, and we'll go from there. So for right now, I'll see you guys later. Okay, never mind, John. Appreciate you, John. All right, talk to you guys soon.